there is one very specific question I have regarding Deltarune. No, it's not the identity of the Roaring Knights or the nature of device_friend. We can make the simple assumption that the storeroom closet in the school has before been opened. Easy, right? Someone had to go get the chalk, and with Susie's appetite, it seems obvious that, well, that might be a common occurrence. So with that line of logic, we can assume that the Castletown fountain opened relatively close to Chris and Susie's discovery of it while going to get the chalk. So not to bury the lead for more YouTube ad revenue, why was the Castletown fountain opened, and how is it not contributing to the roaring? As we understand it, the roaring is the culmination of too many fountains opening. And while this theoretically implies one fountain is okay, the reality is when you take into account the fact that the fountain was freshly opened, not always existing, the assumption that it is not contributing to the end of the world no longer tracks. We don't know what Rousey is in the light world, but we can say for certain Rousey is a darkener, and darkeners, to our knowledge, cannot open dark fountains. This is shaky, as the Knight's whole thing probably isn't darkener or lightener, it's a mix of something, and when opening the fountain in the dark world, the Knight created a Titan. Important to remember, this line isn't set in stone, but all it does is tell us that Rousey did not create the fountain. So looking at the narrative, this might relate to the final prophecy. The fountains originate from the earth, like stabbing into a bag filled with water and letting the bag empty. I think looking at how the narrative is presented, it seems much more likely that every fountain is negatively contributing to the amount of darkness in the light world, even Castletown. The existence of Castletown, and thus the existence of Rousey, is a net positive currently, as Rousey has been relatively key for some parts of the Fun Gang's adventures, which close the other fountains from the Knight. There's also something to be said about Rousey being willing to take the risk as a means to cement himself as a tool and not as a person. This is important later. The final prophecy then seems kind of obvious, that even Castletown must go, sealing away the real darkeners from the light and keeping everything in balance, as any existence of a fountain throws it off. But this is narratively dissatisfying, isn't it? Susie takes it much more seriously when she reads the final prophecy, which might just be coping from the realization that she will lose all of her first, real friends. But no, it seems so much more. Susie specifies Rousey would not let this happen, which implies that it would go against Rousey's duties, what Rousey's duties are as a Prince of the Dark. Closing the fountain would not go against Rousey's ideals up to that point, as Rousey does not see darkeners as being worthy of, well, anything, and would sacrifice them to keep the light world in check. I don't know what the breach of duty could reasonably be. Maybe the light collapses and the darkness will have to win. Definitely relates to the soul, but in what way? Maybe darkness is sealed away for good, but again, narratively dissatisfying. This is just a very key detail to note when moving on to Chapter 5, this ending prophecy. It's very interesting and probably is worthy of some further analysis once we have more. Because again, beyond pure speculation, we are not getting a slam dunk moment like Roots. Probably, at least. Now we go on to Chapter 5, into the fields of pink and gold, and there I'm hoping to make some discoveries and continue this line of thinking.